Welcome to the Goodguys Car Show here in San Diego. I am going to show you my top 3 favorites, so stick around. Alrighty, I'm here today with Georjah Erin, and she has her truck Tofu. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
This is my 1989 Toyota pickup. A little bit special to me. He debuted at SEMA 2024, and now we're here at our first actual event since SEMA, the Goodguys Del Mar Nationals. We're pretty excited to be here. This has been a labor of love for me. He's pretty special. I brought him down from Canada we both immigrated together. So there's lots of little details throughout the entire truck. I make jokes all the time about how the only thing left on the truck that is stock is the glass. The majority of the truck is custom. So whether that be the 4Runner front clip or the engine bay being chromed out and engraved, or anything like the interior being 59 Impala inspired with a 59 Impala dash and the 59 Impala inspired seat. We have a hydraulic cantilever suspension going on in the back as well that's been all chromed out. We got some engraving back there.
I want to ask you, just because like, my channel is open to all kinds of people, all walks of life. What the heck is a cantilever suspension?
Okay, so it runs off of, normal hydraulics are run off like a cylinder that just pushes up and down off of, say, your diff.
So like a shock almost.
Kind of similar. And so this is run so that the cylinder pushes on a giant knuckle that's at the back, and that rotates and it pushes down. And
so does that mean it has more angles, basically?
It kind of, it
runs
off a different angle opposed to up and down. So basically, you know when you see oil fields with the big mining, it gives it that
kind
sort
of like
of
the elliptical kind of thing.
It moves up and down like with like a kind of like the thing that looks like a bird.
Yeah,
oil mining. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Very similar. Like that cantilever, it moves the whole thing. So the truck itself has 4 accumulators, but then also on top you'll see these 2 shocks that people often think that they're there for display or they're not actually in use, but they are. They're teed into the entire system to run as an additional accumulator. So you'll see them as the truck moves down, they cycle to absorb some shock so that the truck rides a bit smoother.
So they don't just look pretty,
they're functional, I promise. Everything on the truck is functional. There's been quite a few people that have thought like certain elements might not function, but everything is purpose built, everything is functional to make the truck ride the way it does and drive the way it does and everything like that.
Well, so one thing that really makes you unique, especially in this field of, you know, $500,000, $1 million, like really beautiful cars, in my opinion, is that your truck is ever changing.
Very much so. So originally this truck was supposed to go to SEMA as just a rolling chassis, not even with the cab on it, and just be displayed with the suspension. Well, as we continued on, it was like, well, I think we can really push to get the cab on it and maybe make it a driver.
I have to give you a high five.
Thank
you. Seriously,
you.
The fact that you made it.
It was like, you know what? Someone said I couldn't do it, and so then it really made me feel like I had to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, but you know, this very much is version 1 of the truck. As things, you know, as I change, as time goes on and whatnot, this truck is going to change and take different shape and not necessarily style, because it does have its own style, but there will be things that will be ever changing on it, and it is built that way that as time goes on, when I want to either have a mud flap or a removable bedside, because the bed is a question that comes up quite often, that there's room to grow and change with the truck as I grow and change as a builder. So it's exciting to build it that way and have it that way. Some people think that maybe it might be unfinished, but I don't think that any project vehicle is ever truly finished.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's the nice thing is, like, we are going to see this car today. We're going to show in all of these little bits and pieces that you're adding in. I could never show all of them because there's just so much detail.
Thank you.
But the cool thing is like, I could see your truck, you know, 6 months from now, or, you know, the next time you bring it to SEMA or to the next big car show, and it is going to have new things that, like these little Easter eggs, right?
Little things here and there, and just like things to finesse and make better. And I continue to tell people too, like, even as it sits now, there's so many little things that I want to upgrade and change and make better. And as time goes on. It's going to allow me to grow with the truck. We've grown a lot together as is, and I've learned a lot with this truck. But yeah, it's kind of a blessing to be able to do it that way and not necessarily have something that's completed and done, and that's the end of the line for it. The truck is going to stay with me for the rest of my life, at least. And
I would say I'm going to be buried with my car.
Just put me in the ashtray. And then from there, like, wasn't built to sell. So it's like, why not make it something that can change and grow with me?
So obviously, like, this is a massive endeavor.
Yeah.
The one question I want to leave our viewers with is, like, if somebody was just starting out, like, how can they choose which foot to put forward? Like, what, I mean, like, obviously pick the car, but like, then what's like the next step? Do you pick like a system? Like, how do you dive in?
So this truck was definitely built very backwards because I never even drove it from the time that I bought it, because it was already in shambles when I got it. It was a salvaged project that was, you know, and I brought it home and we threw the whole frame out and started to build a one-off frame for it. So it basically, if I tell everybody, I'm like, find something you truly love because you're going to stick with it.
Yeah.
So get a vehicle that you're passionate about, and then start with the foundation stuff. Like, if you can drive it, that's great. Get to know your vehicle.
Like, making sure there's no rust.
Framework is so important. Like, cosmetic stuff can come after, but your foundation is everything.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do paint and then go backwards and do suspension, you know? So start with your foundation and then work your way from there. And then I always tell people too, like, the best thing you can do is plan, and whether that means you're writing lists or whatever the heck you are.
Or like a full-on blueprint book. Like, you know, I'm sure you have probably hundreds of pages.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. And just save your money. That's a huge one too. That was like such a big factor in everything, is
so that you can take on one big project at a time.
So that you can plan and budget and whatnot. It's okay to eat ramen noodles. It's okay to not make that Amazon purchase that you really want.
True,
you know what I mean?
True.
Like, because I think that was like one really big thing that it's kind of unrelatable to a bill, but in anything in life, I tell people that when you really
Starbucks a day
want something really, really bad, like, putting everything you got towards it, and that will really make the difference in the end, you know? Yeah. And just do it for yourself. Don't worry about what anybody else says. If you have a vision, like, stick to your gut and don't change. That's a big thing too.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you will love it. That's the biggest thing.
Yours.
Yeah, you'll love it.
Yeah.
Like, people can say anything they want about this truck. Someone can tell me that they hate it
Don't
whatever,
care.
and I don't care, because I love it so dang much, because I stuck to my gut on what I wanted to do for it.
Well, you know what? I don't care what the awards are today. You were one of my top 5. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Always good to see you. Always good to see you.
Woo! I'm here today with Richard, and Richard here is selling this El Camino, but the reason we're talking to Richard is he is super passionate. This is one of about 150 cars that he has owned, that he's rebuilt. You're actually working on a couple different projects right now. So what is the love for this car? And I know you told me you've had about 4 of them.
Well, it's a classic muscle car. And even though it's not traditional to the era, it's got a little bit of hop up to it. 454 engine, Muncie M21 close ratio tranny, 12 bolt rear end, Hotchkiss suspension, Willwood front disc brakes.
So let's just clarify a few of those things, because my channel is open to like everybody. So not everybody is like super familiar with what those independent things are. So number one, you said 454. Now that is a pretty massive engine for a vehicle that's so lightweight, right?
Yeah, there's no weight in the rear end.
Yeah. So how do you keep this thing on the ground then?
Well, with the Hotchkiss suspension back, which is basically a suspension that holds the rear end in place. It's got Dragmaster slicks on it. The rear end is set up to hook up with the power ratio to the back end. So, yeah, it's got quite a bit of.
So you've built it to not only be powerful, but also to be a driver.
Yeah, it is a driver. Yeah, it doesn't get the best gas mileage in the world.
That's not what you built it for, though.
No, we don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But, it's a great driver. Starts and stops perfectly. Safe.
Yeah,
a lot of
safe,
fun.
right?
A lot of fun. And I love the way it sounds. It's got Sprint car, 3-inch mufflers on it.
So what's something else that you love about this? I know this is a driver, but you also said you had 4 of these. Why have you had so many?
El Caminos to me were just a unique style. I had a 59 El Camino that we did, was close to being a show car.
Okay.
And it got to a point where you didn't want to drive it. You know, it was kind of like, I don't want to get chips and bangs in it and such.
I don't want it to get dirty.
Yeah, well, you get trailer queens and you're not really enjoying the sport that much, you know. So,
very true.
One of the things, all the cars I do now are drivers.
Okay.
You know, I like looking at my reflection in the glass going down the road.
Yeah, yeah. Or just literally seeing little white lines, or like when the sun is setting, you see the red reflectors instead of the white ones. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, I totally get that. What's something else that you're working on that you're passionate about?
Well, I've got a 31 Ford chopped coupe.
And chopped means that you took the hood, the roof line, and basically like narrowed it, right?
Yeah, sorry. I dropped it 5 inches. It's 12 inches originally stock. So dropped it to 7 inches in height.
Can you actually still see out of that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Highway Patrol requires that you have the front windshield has to be the height of a dollar bill, which is 6 inches.
Oh.
That's back in the old days. In the 50s and 60s, that's where we learned how to chop our tops.
Okay.
Anyway, with that in mind, I chopped it so that it was 7 inches, just an inch over.
Yeah, give the CHP a little bit more to work with.
Yeah, and it's a primered white walled hot rod.
Hell yeah.
And then I'm building.
I bet that's also fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it doesn't weigh anything. You know?
Yeah.
And then I'm building a 35 Ford pickup truck. Was my next project, and I'm just starting that now. So this has got to go away, so I have funds and room to work on that one.
Funds is, I think, the number one there, and room.
And
room. So funds and room for the truck. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for showing
it
off today.
It was great meeting you, T. Thank you very much.
It's a GMC Carryall, which
it's also one of the tallest vehicles in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
1962. They're not very common.
Yeah.
So I don't know a lot about it, and I don't even know a lot about the technical stuff.
Well, what do you like about the car?
Well, we were at Barrett-Jackson in Scottsdale.
Okay.
And it was right near where we enter, and it was love at first sight. And
my goodness.
I don't know.
It was love at first sight for you or for both of you?
Well, for me, because women are, are more emotional when we see things. Of course, my husband, we had to check it out and stuff, but definitely could tell his interest was piqued.
Yeah.
You know, I was slobbering all over. I mean, I don't hold back.
They're like, excuse me, miss, do you need a towel?
Yeah, I mean, but we're more outward about that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It had the look of sort of the suburban, because it is based off sort of, it was that time suburban basically, but they were work trucks mostly. But it was the look, the colors,
so it's been this color the whole time?
Yes.
Okay.
The upholstery, it's a new build. Just the interior, just the way it's all put together was really appealing. But the truck itself caught me right off the bat. Every day because it's right at the entrance, we would come in and see it, and then he started checking it out more and more, and the two guys, pretty young guys, but their dad had a garage and they worked with him, and they were there. We got to ask them a lot of questions, which
the guys that built it.
Yeah, you don't always get that at Barrett-Jackson.
I feel like that would help sell it to me too.
And they were great kids. I call them kids. They were probably in their mid to late 20s, and really knowledgeable, and they'd had one growing up. And the big thing with these is they only have the 2 doors. And so you open the passenger door and you push the passenger seat forward, and everybody climbs into the back.
Fun. And it's kind of like a cartoon back in the day.
Yeah. Well, and some people will buy them and put a door in, but the guys that built it said that was part of their memories of it, was
the nostalgia,
climbing over the seat into the back. So it came over the block, and we went for it and got it, and I was just so
do
happy.
you drive this one?
This one we just got.
Okay.
We literally have only had Barrett-Jackson was in January.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Yeah,
and literally just months.
Yeah, and our husbands have a father and son. They have a shop, and so it's been, anything we get at Barrett-Jackson, it never just gets driven. It has to be checked out, because you don't get to do
know
that
what
at
somebody
the show.
was building. Yeah.
So it's really just got done being checked. So this is really only the first show we've had it at. So
congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're looking forward to driving it.
I am. Well, I am. It's a little my husband was driving it on the freeway, and he said it's a little squirrely,
Loosey?
and
Yeah,
so
loosey-goosey.
there's more work that needs to be done.
And I
before
feel
I'll
that
get
with
it.
like such big tires too, like sometimes they grip the road in different ways.
Yeah.
Like you got to think through all of that, and it sounds like he's at least good at checking over things before just throwing you in the car.
You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you get it in an auction
Yeah.
situation where you don't have a chance to really. I mean, luckily, again, we had the builders there, but that's
Yeah.
not normal. You know, a lot
Yeah.
of times you don't. So they really go over everything real well before it gets. We have a large collection, and every car is drivable. You know, there's
I
no.
love that.
So.
There's no parking
But
princesses.
but they're thoroughly gone over by their mechanics and stuff, because like you said, he brought it home, and it was like had to hang on to it on the freeway, and he said it's a little scary for him to say that.
Yeah.
So I won't be driving it for a while. but
Okay, 6 months. We'll see you on the
Yeah,
road
we'll
for the next
see.
the summertime car shows.
yeah, I'm just excited because people you don't see
You don't
them.
get to see this, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what
yeah.
kind of drew my attention to it. I didn't know at first that you ladies were both attached to that car, so I'm really
Mhm.
glad that we had the opportunity
Yeah.
to talk about it.
Yeah,
so.
I'm looking forward to having it out.
Yeah.
And people being able to see
Well,
it.
thank
and-
you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Seriously.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. If there's something that you wanted to see or you'd like to have a certain type of interview at the next car show, leave it in the comments. Also, let me know what your favorite was.